How we doing, blade lovers the world over? I am getting over the worst summertime cold I've had in years. So I apologize if I sound weird, if I hack and cough and whatever, but we know that God is greater than the highs and lows of life, right? So thank goodness, because this blade is going to require a frenzy of data and action. The Cold Steel Frenzy, the little brother of the Frenzy 2. God knows where the Frenzy 1 went. I don't even know if the Frenzy 1 exists. Leave a comment below. I was sticking around. I'm like, was there ever a Frenzy 1? This just like no numbers. Frenzy 2 is 5.5 inches. This one is the more practical of the two at 3.5 inches. And this has a lot of uniqueness that we normally do not see with other cold steel knives that I'm going to highlight today and help you unpack if the Frenzy is going to go crazy in your pocket, or if it's better to go with something just more practical, because this thing is freaking wild. So, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I am Aaron. This is Gideonstactical, and let's dive right in with this blade shape. 3.5 inches. We have a low flat grind, so low, in fact, it's not going to be able to hit the flow. No, this is basically like 3/8 of an inch from cutting edge to where the transition stops. And on 0.13, so just a hair over 1/8 of an inch thick, this is kind of like a chisel a little bit on CPM 3V steel. That is the first thing. Super pumped about that steel. So glad Cold Steel is using it. They have it on a few of their fixed blades, and I love it. I want to see some CPM 3V on more pocket knives. They do it sometimes on limited run stuff. I think they did that with an 8010 at some point. Dude, do I love CPM 3V. It's a little bit cheaper usually than, let's say, MagnaCut and some of the other premium steels, but man, is it a workhorse. And I feel like it fits the Cold Steel vibe really well. Good wear resistance. You coat it like this with the black wash, you're not gonna get any rust on it. It's pretty rust resistant as it is anyway, and holds a good edge to boot. Now, the Frenzy is like a claw, you know, like I think of like a witch's finger. Yeah. And it acts like that. The precision is in the first 1.5 inches of the blade, and then the back half is where you would do certain slicing, and I use that word broadly, and I'll highlight why. Because we're getting an ever so slight, it's not really even a recurve, it's just that the tip is transitioning down and sweeping down ever so slightly. And so what that means is you just grip the tool and it's immediately wanting to go in a downward motion towards your target, whatever it is that you're cutting through, whatever it is that you're slicing on. And so that is where it's going to get most of the work. It's going to pierce and penetrate like a wasp stinger. Like, I've heard that wasps have photographic memories. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's why they can like chase you down across a yard and like, oh yeah, that tool with the red hat, I'm gonna sting him 5 more times. So, I mean, it definitely feels like that. I mean, think of like a bird beak, very, very unique profile. I'm on the fence with it, to be honest. The profile itself, it stands out from just like generic drop point, you know, like, oh, okay. So like basically a pull cut, pierce, pull is where this is going to excel in performance. So piercing your kid's packaging of that new toy that just arrived from Amazon or wherever, and that type of stuff, or just, or in a reverse grip and doing a claw like, it's not a karambit, but man, it kind of feels that way a little bit. Here's what I will say. Because of how short the grind is, thick the blade is, the edge geometry is phenomenal. I mean, Cold Steel always brings those edges up, but it's kind of thick, dude. It's not gonna slice. It's not gonna slice like a very high grind on, say, a Voyager, or like a full flat grind Voyager, or even on the Air Light. You know, that grind is just so much higher. And so it's just gonna slice better, dude. It's just gonna slice better. So it will do it, of course, it will absolutely cut stuff. But even when I went against a tomato, I was like, oh man. And I had to hone it. Now, a ceramic rod or short, like on this Work Sharp here, where it's not a broad stone, you can easily hone this edge, maintain it. I just ran it on a ceramic rod, part of the Work Sharp a couple times, and then it was able to cut food and stuff. But it's because of the geometry. It's just so broad. So it's very thick very strong, very durable, great for, again, piercing and slashing. But if you're gonna like zippity-doo-dah through 50 pieces of cardboard, not the best knife. Not the best knife, not gonna use it in the camp kitchen, not something I would prefer to do. Now it's funny, because the grind is so broad and kind of short, it actually makes feather sticks really, really well. So, again, you just gotta choose your task, choose your grind. That's where this is really gonna come down to. Now, on this particular model, what is cool is the deployment. We have these 2 grooves with thumb studs as well. So I can do a back finger, middle finger. The deployment is super good. They have really kept that throughout the years, as you know, cold steel has been kind of passed around at this point. After Lynn Thompson sold it, shout out, I met him at Blade Show 2025. Amazing, amazing dude. Yeah, so that is really cool. Just the groove kind of like stands out. And we don't see that on a lot of cold steel. So the cold steels tend to, they're wild, but they have a lot of kind of, not generic, but I don't know what word I'm looking for. To have the groove, to have this crazy clip, some swedging, but it's flat. The uniqueness of the blade really stands out in the deployment, regardless if you use thumb studs. And I like that they're doing matching thumb studs. You know, it's not like on the Airlight, which has it cockeyed to the right hand, which I am, but then if you're a lefty, you got to like flathead back that thing out. I know some of you guys don't like that. Still a flathead, but they just match them. It's like, hello, like, thank you for doing that. Like, they're actually identical, just slightly smaller than what you would get on an 8010. So excellent deployment, thumb studs, all the rest. Now, what's also unique is the size, grip, and how it fits in your hand. You know, cold steels are usually monster blades, and this being 3.5 inches, legal in many different locations, but also how it just disappears in the pocket. And we'll get to that in just a moment, but it is time to thank the sponsor of this video, which is VAER Watches. These guys are awesome. They are based right here in the USA, a homegrown American company, working hard to bring as many aspects of watch manufacturing back to the USA, which is just super, super cool. And their analog watches are epic because you can start out with their quartz options, like what I have here, with very cool, like, you know, field watches from the 1940s, the Korean War, you know, those type of vibes. And you're gonna get excellent performance to value. But then if you like having different power sources, and then you have the choice in solar power, and then you have choices also in their automatic watches. And I have the litany across the board, and I've been using them now for over 6 months and have just been really impressed with what these bring to the table. And as an added bonus, if you subscribe to their email list, then you get 10% off your first purchase. So great performance, great value, and are bringing a lot to the table in this watch timepiece arena. And I'll have links popping up as well as in the description box below so you can start exploring. Now to that second aspect, which is the handle. Again, most cold steels that we run into are broad, and I love it. I'm not dissing that at all. Here, I mean, just look at a Voyager compared to the Frenzy. I mean, the Frenzy is like a pencil. The Voyager is big, broad, beefy. The AD10, the Recon 1, you know, I mean, they're just monster blades, very big, very bulky. The Frenzy is so narrow, slim, and is even, you know, kind of dwarfed by the Airlight, which is not a big knife, so to speak. And what they've done is brought this down under 3 ounces. This is 2.7 ounces for a blade like this. That is really impressive. We got G10 handles. They have really contoured these well, but it's 1/2 inch thick. It's actually like 0.53, I think, on the thickness. So it fills out the hand. You know, I have large size hands, 3 1/4 knuckle span, and I got a good deep guard there, but it's not sharp. We got the blocky jimping that cold steel always does well. So I'm super locked in there, dude. Look at how locked in I am. And I got plenty of real estate, but it disappears in the pocket. Now, the other thing that I like as well is that the pocket clip has been changed. They started doing this in recent years, whereas old pocket clips, you know, you had to get a right and a left, and they weren't ambi. And then what happens if you lose the box or you misplace it or you want to gift it to someone who's a lefty and you're like, I don't freaking know where the clip is, and you got to chase it down. This recessed screws, way to go. So that's going to easily loop over, deep ride, disappear. It's got a little bit of a lip there. It didn't cause any problems for me, didn't catch on anything. And it's ambi, so you just unscrew it, swap, ready to rock and roll with that little shelf and lip. They really thought this blade through very, very nicely. So I'm really pleased with how it's like a disappearing act and can go nuts on particular piercing and draw cut tasks. Again, not going to win any awards when you put it up for slicing compared to an AD10 or a Voyager. So just take that in consideration and leave a comment, especially if you own a Frenzy. So what's this going to cost? Well, this is what's super dope. Shout out to Midway USA. They actually hooked me up with this particular sample. They always have excellent prices on Cold Steel products. Normal price is $160, $159 for CPM 3V, Taiwanese, you know, all the stuff. I think that's definitely kind of in the ballpark. You know, when you look at S35VN versions of the AD10, they're right around like maybe 140 now, something like that. So all of those links all popping up in the description box as well if you are curious. The Frenzy, great for piercing and draw cutting, not for, I wouldn't camp with it, wouldn't do other stuff with it, but what I would love to see to kind of button this up, I would love for them to do a full flat grind version and sweep up and bring us like, keep the swedge, but like bring the blade up a little bit more, rotate, and give us, actually just give us like a clip point, you know, kind of like this style. I mean, that's a full flat though. But like if they could transition the grind a little bit, do a sweep up, maybe even a trailing point. Dude, a trailing point. I don't know how they could bury the tip in there though, in the handle. I think another blade shape on the Frenzy I think would be sick. Keep the handle the same. Keep the steel the same, change the grind geometry a little bit, and this thing would be bananas. But that's me, that's my mileage, guys. Hope it's been fun, entertaining, giving you the data you need about the Frenzy 3.5-inch version in 3V, and whether or not it's gonna check the box for you. Leave comments below. Till next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, see you out there.